Good morning, good afternoon, good night, good evening, wherever you are at. Welcome to the BitLab Academy daily live stream. Just want to make sure all the audio, visual, everything's working out. Give me that thumbs up in chat. Give me your favorite emoji in chat. Let me know how you're feeling. Thank you to everybody that is a part of this community from the start. Early adopters here, all you that are interested in not just figuring out what's the price action today, but how do we navigate this market? That's what this channel is all about. We're bridging that gap from beginner to pro. My name's Kelly Kellam. Welcome to the BitLab Academy daily stream every day, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to about 11:35 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just make sure you ding that bell. A lot of people are showing up a bit late, because here in the U.S., we have a ridiculous thing called daylight savings time, and a lot of the viewers on the other parts of the world, I was getting some messages wondering why we were starting at a different time. Well, we are starting a little bit earlier with that extra 30 minutes, but also the fact that, daylight savings time does change things for people watching from anywhere else. So if you have not yet, ding that bell, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and be a part of this community. Shout out to everybody in chat. It is March 15th, 2023. We are living in the future. Markets are getting exciting again. And like any day of the week that you're in these markets, there are incredibly bullish signs, and there's things that are giving us caution, letting us know that we should be watching out and protecting ourselves, having some risk management. So in this stream and in all our streams, I am going to be going over some of the data of what's going on in the charts, in the news and in the fundamentals, but also providing some strategy on how we can pick some targets to both bullish and bearish price action. So have no worry if you are a beginner or you are a pro. You will find alpha here. We will be letting you know how to really understand what's going on in the market. And if you've been in the market for a while, I guarantee you're still going to learn things on this channel. If you are just starting, this is an excellent place to be, and this is an excellent reason why. As we go through, as we build this community, I want to make sure you all make sure that you share this with your friends and your folks. YouTube.com/@BitLab Academy. You see, we're just over 5,000 subscribers now, and you can also come over here to my Twitter page. Follow me at Kelly Kellam, which is KELLYKELLAM, and then make sure within all this that you come down here and you come over and you follow the BitLab Academy Twitter page as well, which is at Academy BitLab. Every morning I share a tweet, I don't want to say promoting, but letting people know what the stream's going to be about today. And it does a great service, not just to this channel, but to the entire crypto ecosystem. When you let people know, here's a spot you can come and find out what's going on in the market and not have somebody just talk over your head. We're going to break down concepts, strategies, plans of actions, and just ways that you can understand what the heck is going on so that you can navigate this profitably. So shout out to everybody that's here in chat. We're going to give a couple shout outs to all of the mods that we have here, as well as all these people showing up early. I love it when people are on time. I love it when people show that they're ambitious to learn, and it's going to go a great deal. It's going to take you a great deal further than those that are just expecting to make money buying at tops and wondering why that their portfolios are down. It's the people like you that are here on this stream here in BitLab Academy. And those of you that are also members, that are alumni in bitlabacademy.com, going through the courses. And by the way, I'm so excited to let you all know we have so much new content. I can't even tell you how much new content that we have coming. This first round is going to be somewhere around 100 new lessons, a bunch of new courses from candles, candle patterns, trading strategies, psychology of trading, trading fundamentals, Bitcoin 101, blockchain 101, and all of this is going to start rolling out. We're literally on the precipice of that happening. We're just making sure it all integrates into the server correctly, and we get all the membership on the current site rolled over. We have a brand new website that's all going to be launching. And don't worry, if you are a member of BitLab Academy, there's nothing that you need to do. You're just going to log in one day, or you're going to go to the website and see it's a brand new, beautiful website with a lot better functionality, with Access to the old courses, sure, it's still going to be there in the legacy area, but all new content starting from the ground up, all video content as well. So you can really understand things broken down piece by piece. And in order to find out more about that, make sure you come over here to bitlabacademy.com. Sign up here for the newsletter where it says your email here. Fill that in and you get entered to win a free month access to courses and a free month access to the indicators as well. And I spoke to our indicator dev last night, a good friend of mine and just such a brilliant person. And he said, you know what? This is not our entire sort of model here is not just about making money. That's actually the furthest thing from what we're aiming to do. What we're aiming to do is to bring content that's digestible to users regardless of where you are on your journey so that you can understand what's going on in blockchain and crypto and Bitcoin and Ethereum. And also, if you want to take it to that next level, if you want to trade or invest, how do you do that? How do you do it consistently, profitably? How do you understand what's going on, not only on this stream, but when you watch other YouTube streams or even financial analysts on CNBC or the best financialist ever who gets all his calls wrong, Mr. Jim Cramer? It's important to understand the lingo, the different words and verbiage and vocabulary that's involved within trading and investing so that you can understand the little nuggets of information that people are trying to share with you. So I'm just very excited about everything we're doing over here at BitLab Academy. In fact, you see me in my BitLab shirt right here. It's because I got in here early this morning and I live in New York, but I'm spending half my time here in Atlanta so I can film all this content so that we can bring you the best, most comprehensive, most digestible, understandable course in all of blockchain and crypto. And we're doing that for all of you so we can support that. And of course, we've got this YouTube channel as well that I host every day, Monday through Friday, trying to break down everything that's going on and do it in a way that brings you pro alpha in a beginner digestible way so you understand what's going on. So that's enough of the intro. I just wanted to say again, shout out to everybody here in the channel, everybody that shows up. If you've been here from the get-go, if you've been here from the first week or two, throw a 1 in chat. Let me know. If this is your first time, put in first, write in the word first. Let me know this is your first time. Wherever you're at on your journey within our community, let me know if you've been here for a while or whatever, but we love you, the entire community. We're here about engagement. We're here about empowerment. We're here about positivity. So if for the few trolls that do come in here, you'll see they get timed out and bounced out real quick because this is about growing. This isn't about just criticism. This is about how we can grow together. So that's all I got to say about all that. Let's go ahead and dive in and talk about what's going on. But I do want to shout out Alexander G. What's up, Matt C. A mellow fellow. We got Steve Ramos, Tenacious B, King Peasant, Vlad De Escalu. I've got a very small screen here. It's hard to read. Matt Lane, Earth Angel. I guarantee Karen Swigert Harris is in the house. Yeah, there she is. We've got, where's my boy Alex Green? Is he still missing it? He's one of our head mod. He's on the team here with BitLab. He's in the UK and he said, I forgot that there was a time change. Shout out to my dad who's in chat as well. Sent me a donut. If you could see my belly, you would notice that I do not need to have any donuts. In fact, I need to abscond from having as many carbs as possible because I've got a little too much carrying around my midsection, but that's okay. Crimson Caravan Company. We got Blazing 2Js, Crypto Savage. We got so many people in here. Shout out to everybody. Let's get this going. All right. What is going on in the markets? Well, let's go ahead and take a sip of water. All right. We got a lot to talk about today. Before we do that, have you hit that like button? Have you hit that subscribe button? Have you ding that bell? I want you to do that right now. We want to get these likes up in the area of where our viewership is so YouTube knows that you guys like this content, you guys and gals like this content, so they put more crypto content out to the general public so we can make the adoption grow. So let's go ahead and jump into the screen here and talk about what's going on. So first things first, I'm actually going to start over here. Let's see, where are we at? PPI. So the PPI, we could come over here on forexfactory.com. I like this website to give us the sort of economic data that we want to basically be aware of, keep track of, because it's having a huge impact on what's going on right now in the markets in regards to price action, because there's a lot of uncertainty as to this risk on, risk off behavior. And we've talked about this a lot on the channel, and it feels like every single day there's something that's going to drive the market up or it's going to crash the market. And that's because of this huge global economic shutdown that we had in March of 2020. And there's no real playbook, you know, to have a little compassion, as much as it's hard to sometimes, to have a little compassion for the monetary policymakers, the Fed, the different governments trying to figure out what to do to take care of their people and also keep economies going after shutting down the world economy, you know, in March of 2020. I don't want this to get political, but there's been a lot of decisions made. I'll just say that. And now we're dealing with the consequences. And for anybody that wonders about when the government should or shouldn't be printing money, or should or shouldn't be taking care of us in this way or that way, again, this is not political, but we always have to remember all of those decisions will have knockdown, huge impact effects, maybe not immediately, but drastically over the future. Would I rather have $1,200 stimulus in my pocket right now, but also be okay with everything that I'm going to spend money on in 3 years costing 30% more? I feel like that's a theft. That $1,200 stimulus was actually a Band-Aid over a shattered femur, which does not work. And that's what we're dealing with right now, is trying to understand how we can get this inflation under control so that we can basically have risk come back into the market. So people want to put money into the markets, because as inflation goes up and monetary policy tightens, then we have this setup in the markets that people are very wary about when and where and why they need to put their money in different places, whether it's in equities or assets or Bitcoin and crypto, because with this drastic amount of uncertainty that is just imbued in markets right now, not to mention all the bank failures that are happening now as a result of this tightening monetary policy, as a result of increasing interest rates to bring down inflation. Well, now we have this situation that, if you really think about it, is a bizarrely beautiful situation when we consider Bitcoin. What was Bitcoin born from? Well, if we bring up, where is it at? If we bring up this chart right here, or this tweet from Maxi, which is at 888 Velvet, he puts out a lot of great information. This is the Genesis block code right here. And what was printed into the Genesis block code? Essentially right here, January 2009, Chancellor on brink of second bailout for basically for banks. So for people that don't know, Bitcoin was not born just because people wanted internet money to trade. And no, this was born out of the 2008 housing collapse, market crisis, cascading bank collapses. I think around that time is when Washington Mutual also went under. It might have been before that, but in that same time vicinity. But Bitcoin was born out of the disaster that is centralized finance, that is centralized traditional banking. Bitcoin was born to create an alternative means that is decentralized, without a single point of failure, without having individual banks that take your money when you deposit it. And then they take your money, which is now no longer your money once you deposit it in the bank. And we spoke about this yesterday. And then they go on and take risk on other investments that they're making. And they lend out and make money off the banks of the capital that you have. Now, when they go a little bit too far, or monetary policy changes, which is what we're facing right now. Monetary policy has changed, trying to get inflation under control, which has squeezed the banking industry, where they were initially investing in treasuries and bonds and these things that were thought to be safe investments because they were government-backed bonds and treasuries and these basically assets that are thought to be low risk. However, when the monetary policy ecosystem changes as dramatically as it has in the last year and a half, 3.5 years, but more specifically in this case, the quantitative tightening in the last year and a half, it puts banks in a position that a lot of the investments that they made, which were safe investments, now are worth less than they should have been worth because of this change in interest rates. So Bitcoin is the answer out of all of this. And this is what we're seeing right now. Is scary as everything is, seeing Silicon Valley Bank collapse, and then Signature Bank, which there were some sort of questionable things going on with Signature Bank, but that was shut down more from the government. I think this may be conspiracy theory. I don't really believe it is. I think there's enough evidence that supports it. Governments are trying, they're seeing that Bitcoin is the answer in relationship to what's going on with the traditional banking system. It is something that is a counterpoint to the control that they have over us with the traditional finance system. And they're trying to choke off different avenues of on-ramps and off-ramps to get into crypto. This is within the US, of course. But what we're seeing right now, and I actually didn't pull it up. I'll see if I can pull it up here in a moment. What we're seeing is Bitcoin is not a US-born asset. Bitcoin is a universal-born asset. It is decentralized. It is supported across the globe. It is on every basically miner that is decentralized across the world that's participating in it. It's not within a central authority. So although the U.S. can do certain things and have monetary policy or have new regulations that have an impact on the Bitcoin price because of fears and because of uncertainty, they can never really shut down Bitcoin because the rest of the world will always have access to it. And it may create a hiccup in price, but the long-term outlook of Bitcoin is always going to be the same. It will grow and it will have adoption over time because it is the best. It is not only the best alternative, it is the best value advancement, the best store of value technology that we've ever created. And make no mistake, we think of technology like computers, like keyboards, like cell phones. If we think back to really what the word technology means, technology is the development of basically the human development of a tool. So the second somebody took a stick and put a rock on it and made an axe, that is technology. The second somebody manipulated fire, that is technology. And when we started using, mining gold and creating gold coins, that was a technological advancement in how we transacted currency and transacted goods, rather than, keeping a ledger of how many sheep I gave you and how much grain we traded. We're talking about the technological advancement now with Bitcoin, utilizing all the technological ecosystem that we've basically evolved into in the modern age. And in so doing, we've been able to create a safe alternative to the choke point centralized financial system. So let's jump into the charts and let's talk about what's going on here. All right, that was my rant for the day. Sometimes you just got to get it out there. And I want people to know why Bitcoin and the blockchain ecosystem is so important to financial freedom, to personal access to be able to transact in the world market and protect yourself from the bad actors that are controlling us through these traditional systems. So this is what Bitcoin was born from. So as I see SVB collapse and Signature Bank and then First Republic dropping precipitously and the Credit Suisse dropping, well, we see all that. And what do we see in the last couple of days? Banks were failing, and look at what Bitcoin's doing. If this is not something that brings you hope, I don't know what's going to bring you hope. This is suggesting that Bitcoin, and I mean, this is not obviously fully played out, but this is suggesting the start of the change of the narrative within the zeitgeist of the general public to understanding that Bitcoin is an alternative store of value. It is a digital form of gold. It is the ability to step outside of the corrupt financial system that is essentially taking risk beyond their means and then only ever getting a slap on the wrist and making sure their executives are getting paid and getting bonuses while the people that are depositing into those banks are losing their life savings. Okay, this is an issue. I'm getting a couple dings. I just want to make sure there's no issue. Okay, alrighty. So we got a couple things to look at today. This is what the market, this is basically the opening of the market today. A lot of red going on, which is nice to see. Right now, there's a little bit of a separation. The red in the traditional markets, while we're having, Bitcoin having still a push up. There's a lot to talk about on what's going on with the Bitcoin price, and we're gonna be breaking this down in a little while. We're gonna be breaking down what's going on with within what we're seeing with the momentum within these candlesticks, and also some potential price targets. And not only on Bitcoin, we're also going to talk about the impact of what's happening right now with everything with altcoins, because there are some altcoins that have been running, but large in part, the altcoin market has been somewhat, I don't want to say suppressed, but the liquidity has been flowing into Bitcoin as opposed to altcoins. Now, I want you just to take note that Bitcoin is up 50% this year from the start of the year. So we are in the start of something. We are in the start of something that's positive. There has been a bullish rally, as we've seen from these lows down here, bouncing off this lower support line of this falling wedge, breaking out, retesting twice, now finally getting this push above this 25,250 area that I had mentioned over and over and over. We did get rejected back in, but as Piano Matty B says, another analyst, he says, where it wicks, it will candlestick. So is this sort of of course, this was a lot of short liquidations coming up into this, while also some positive narrative news that brought in buying. We got to push all the way up to this. If we put our mouse over this, we can look at these numbers right here. We can see what the high is. The high is 26,533. This is on the Bitstamp chart, but we have pulled back under. We have pulled back under this 25,250 area, 25,230. But this has formed a new high, so we are stepping in the right direction. So I'm just going to pause here real quick. How's everybody feeling? Are you feeling bullish? Or are you feeling bearish today? Are you neutral? Are you waiting for the trend to get better defined? Are you waiting for us to break above that 26,000 area so we can finally tackle that macro resistance in that 28 to 30,000 region? What are you doing with your portfolio? Are you on the sidelines? Have you been DCAing? Are you a long-term vision person? Are you a scalper? I'd like to know what's going on here in the chat with our community. What type of trader are you? Are you looking for those longer plays, or are you actively day trading? It's good to know what we got going on in the community, because I can build content around you if you engage with that. So let's jump back into the charts here. Let's jump into some of these other tweets we've got going on here. Bitcoin up. Okay, so this is, one of my pals here in the space, wonderful, brilliant analyst, Caleb Franzen, and it's so true. Control the narrative, control the narrative, control the narrative. Why did he say that? Credit Suisse CEO. We are a strong bank and overshoot all regulatory requirements. Well, you wouldn't be needing to make these type of statements right now if you weren't having a bank run on what's going on within your business. He's got another tweet as well in regards to the PPI, but we don't need to bring that up because what we can look more specifically at the PPI. Now, what is the PPI? Why is I mean, it almost sounds like a a child, a schoolyard, like a recess sort of derogatory term, talking about the PPI. But no, the PPI is important to what we're talking about right now in regards to risk on, risk off behavior, because this is what helps shape our forward-looking outlook as to what's going to happen with inflation. And the PPI, and we can Google it together, it is the Producer Price Index. And so what does this mean? This gives us an indication of the cost that it makes, the cost that it takes to make goods. And if the cost to make goods and services for these producers in our economy goes down, so too does looking forward the cost of the goods that we see on shelves, the cost of the services that we have, because the services, you know, for instance, okay, if you're going to get your oil changed, okay, that's a service, but that oil change requires the parts, the labor, the rent. There's all these factors that go into the cost of everything that you do when you're out in public, when you're navigating the world, when you're going out to buy a hamburger, or take your wife or husband on a date, or take your daughter out to a ball game, or whatever it is. So this data, the reason why this has had such an impact and there's been such a focus on all this CPI, Consumer Price Index, the PPI, Producer Price Index, and there's a list of about 10 of these. The reason these are all so important is because markets are forward looking, and we want to speculate about where the price is going to go. And so when we're getting this data and we're trying to debate what's the Fed going to do with the inflation rates, well, right now, this is looking like 91%. And I loaded this earlier, so I actually wonder if this has changed since then. When I loaded this this morning, 91% think that we're still going to get a 25 basis point hike. So let's reload this. Let's see if this has changed after the PPE. Wow. Now look at this. Now it's basically 50-50 that we're not going to get a hike at all. Well, I think this is a little hopeful. I think based on a lot of discussion that's been had throughout the you know, from the Fed talking points to the FOMC minutes, from people like Larry Fink, CEO or president of the world, I should call him, the CEO of BlackRock. You know, which is, for those of you that don't know, BlackRock has about 11 trillion, probably more now, around $11 trillion in assets under management, larger than most countries. And, you know, there's been strong talk about having persistent and consistent rate hikes, and they have been dropping. They were, you know, 50 basis points, and they've been, the last one was 25 basis points. And the speculation is, and this is going back and forth because this new good data that we're getting from the PPE. And in this case, we can see, going back to this data on the PPI, we have come down. The expectation was 0.3, and which is positive, and we're all the way down to negative 0.1. So we're having a large reduction in the cost of producing goods, which is not going to be, it's not going to have an immediate impact on inflation, but it is going to have an impact over the course of the next 2 quarters as those goods get produced. They go through the supply chain logistics, they get delivered at the stores, and they hit the shelves, and people start buying them, and we see those costs come down. So this is forward-looking, letting us know that inflation, or in this case, we should call disinflation, is in the cards right now, which speaks volumes as to positive impact on markets because of the softening of the hawkish monetary policy that we've seen come out of the Fed. Man, we're just dropping bombs of knowledge today, aren't we? I'm so excited. I'm so excited for the market because this was just such this was just so exhausting to every one of these relief rallies and then breakdown and then relief rally, then breakdown. And then are we going to go to 3,000 or 8,000 or 9,000? And now we finally double tap this previous resistance line and had a very strong push. I think yesterday was the strongest push we had in a single day in about 2 years. So I'm just very excited for this, but we have to remember, we cannot be emotional traders. So I'm excited. I have to take that into account. Sometimes we need to take a step back. We need to take a breath. When we're getting very excited about a market is bullish, it makes us want to go and finally jump in to do that leverage trading our friend told us about and go drop 35x on this because it's finally a bull market. And then the next day you lose it. There was a Korean trader that I heard about that yesterday lost $1 million in leverage trades. And it wasn't one trade. He did what's known as revenge trading or kamikaze trading, which is you make a bad trade. And all of us have been here. So I don't want anybody to feel bad about this. This is why we have a community like this. And I want right now, everybody in the chat, if you've ever lost a trade that just, obviously you're all still here, that just made you cry in your spirit like you couldn't believe you made that stupid decision, and you don't need to let us know how much you lost, but if you're like, man, that was a dumb decision, if you've made that error, throw a one in chat, let me know, let everybody else know, because we all need to know as a community that we're all dum-dums sometimes, but we're here to learn, we're here to grow, and that's okay. This Korean trader made a trade. He went long on leverage. Trade went basically it went the opposite direction. He got liquidated. So then he went short. He goes, I guess it's going short. So he went leverage trade short, got liquidated, and then kamikaze traded, as CryptoFace calls it, revenge traded, went long again, got liquidated. Lost $1 million. Now, I don't care if somebody has $100 million or if that's the only $1 million he had. $1 million is a ton of money, and nobody wants to lose $1 million. Nobody wants to lose $100. We want to have winning trades, but with that caveat, I want you to realize if you are going to be trading this market, you need to be okay with losing money. The question is how much? The question is, what is your strategy? The question is, what is your plan when you are setting up trades for your entry, what's your target, and what's your risk management on every single trade you make? And if you have a stop loss and the price starts moving down, throw another one in if you've done this. You have a stop loss. You did all the things you're supposed to do. You saw your trade confirmation. You saw your leading indication. You saw your supporting indicator that said, yeah, this is a good trade. And you got your third confirmation from another technical indicator. So you say, okay, I'm going to take this trade. So you put in, you map out, where your entry is. You have your limit order. So cool. You set your limit order. Now you say, okay, I'm going to take profit at these three spots. So you're laddering out, you're taking profits, not taking it all out in one go. So then you set your stop loss. So the trade hits, awesome. You're in this trade, you're feeling good because you have it all set up. And then the price starts moving down towards your stop loss. And you go, oh man, but I believe in this trade. Oh, almost like Tyrone Biggums. You're like, I believe in this trade though, baby. I believe. So then you start moving your stop loss down. You're like, no. It's going to go. So then you move your stop loss down a little more. And especially if you're in leverage, this is the worst thing possible you could do, because if you're 10x, then every percent down, every move down it goes, it's like, let's say 0.25%, then that's 10x that loss. Even if you're on spot, if you have a 2% stop loss or a 3% stop loss that you have set and you keep moving it down, and you're so married to that trade that it continues going down that you don't adjust your strategy mid-course. Like if your strategy was to have a stop loss here, you need to stick to that strategy and take the loss. Take that 1% loss. I'll take a 1% loss 10 times in a row every day so that I can, be in the market without my capital getting eaten up. Yeah, like I was saying, I take a 1% loss, 7 trades out of 10. I'm okay with that. And then I'm only having 1%, 1%, 1%, or even 2%, 2%, 2%. And then when the trade actually goes through, then, you know, you have your risk to reward ratio set up that you're making money because you're making, 10%, 30%, 40%. So those 1 or 2% stops that get hit, that's okay. It's okay if the stop gets hit, even if the stop gets hit and the trade goes in the direction you thought. You have to have a plan. You have to have patience, and you have to stick to your plan, and you have to remind yourself of patience and practice that risk, and that's where you get consistently profitable. So we're getting back into the charts here. Man, we're dropping some knowledge here today. I want to make sure everybody, as this market starts to get more exciting, that you're not trying to just throw everything in at something, because one of the we need to, before we look at Bitcoin specifically, we need to look at some other things going on in the market, in the crypto markets. Well, let's first do what I say we always do when we come to our trading desk. We want to look at the broader markets first, see what's going on. Okay, we see the dollar index is rocketing off this. Look, I don't even know when I did this support line, all the way back here. So this was actually a Fibonacci. So this is a 382. It bounced off this support region, which is also previous lows we could see here. And the dollar index is rising quite rapidly. So it's surprising. It's pretty surprising that the dollar index is pushing up as hard as it is, as strong as it is, I should say, while Bitcoin is not yet suffering too badly here. Now we see the we see the Nasdaq. We see the Nasdaq was in a falling wedge here and is broken out bearishly out of this falling wedge, but it is looking like it's trying to make an attempt to the upside. But we just need to keep an eye on this. We got the S&P 500. Let's go ahead and expand this. The S&P 500, we've got a very interesting sort of longer time frame trend line that we could see here. We're going to adjust this to basically touch all these points. The whole trick with trend lines, for anybody that wonders, sometimes you'll see an analyst go on to do a trend line and you see him trying to figure out where to do it. What you want to do is essentially, for instance, if I was trying to identify this pattern here, you want to have the support and resistance, which would be the support is the lower line, the resistance is the upper line. You want it to touch as many candle points as possible. So sometimes you may have a candle where most of the candle sticks are bouncing on for instance, a support region, and have one candle that kind of comes below it. That's a little bit of a fake out. But as long as you have your support or resistance having as many candles as possible, touching as many, that's where you get the most accurate support or resistance. And we can see this was an ascending wedge, and what happens out of an ascending wedge? It's a bearish structure, break down from there. Now, we could see that this is fighting to gain support here. This is a S&P 500 index, and this is sort of a good gauge as to what's happening in terms of the risk on, risk off behavior. So let's go ahead and get out of all these traditional markets. We want to look at what the heck's going on with Bitcoin. So let's come over to, and if you have not yet, come over here to the BitLab page, go to playlist, come over here to the daily alpha, go to view full playlist, and watch this pro trading view guide. And more specifically, if you want, this is only 12 minutes. If you want an extended one, it's in the live. It's in the live playlist. There's a much longer one, but the Pro Trading View guide, this has a great way. It shows you how to go and set up all these, basically you can have different layouts with all the charts, so you're not always having to go and find what chart you want to pull up. In this case, we're going to pull up the Bitcoin totals. I'm going to go ahead and save this, Command save. Now we're going to go to the totals chart that I have set up. This has the basically, look at this Bitcoin dominance. This is what we're talking about today, baby, because this is where liquidity is flowing. If you have dominance going up on Bitcoin, let's expand this. And if you have multiple screens like this, This is in that Pro TradingView guide as well. If you have multiple screens like this or a single one, you can see this right here with the square. So this is single. You can actually set up multiple screens. Let's go to the 4 square like I had. If you have it open, you can hit Alt. You can select this screen and press Alt Enter to make it main screen, or just press Option and click. And it was also Option Enter, I think, is what I meant to expand. But we can see as this liquidity is flowing into this dominance, the reason the Bitcoin dominance is going up is because there's more money going into Bitcoin right now than into the other parts of the crypto ecosystem. So if we come over here and look at the total market cap, and in order to pull this up, you come here to BTC.D in crypto. That's Bitcoin dominance. Now we can look at this. This is the total market cap. This is the total too. This is the total market cap excluding Bitcoin. So this is essentially looking at the entire altcoin market. Now, what did I say before? Ascending wedges. We had an ascending wedge forming here, and look, it broke out to the downside. We got a retest of this and breaking further down. So this is still signaling that for the time being, liquidity is flowing into Bitcoin. Now, why is this? Why is liquidity flowing into Bitcoin, not just altcoins? And before anybody throws in chat here, but Singularity is up 40%, but Optimism is up. We're not talking about specific projects. We're always going to have outliers within the crypto ecosystem, within any asset class. But when we're looking at this chart, this is an index essentially of the entire altcoin market. So when you aggregate all the money and all the coins in the crypto ecosystem other than Bitcoin, we're seeing that this is performing worse. There's less liquidity coming in to altcoins than into Bitcoin, as we can see right here. Now, if we zoom out on this is, let's go on the 3-day. We're going to go to auto. We can see, we're going to go ahead and go like this. We can see this channel that we've been in for quite some time. We find support. This was not yet a channel. We found resistance. Now, this second touch point is where you form your trend line. That's just how you identify when you have a trend line, is when you have 2 points that touch, that then you identify this is likely going to be a point of support. And we can see, look, bounce, 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 bounce. And so what we're looking at right now, the Bitcoin dominance is pushing up right about right about 45.6%. Of the entire crypto ecosystem. Bitcoin's market cap, the amount of money in Bitcoin, accounts for over 45% of the entire crypto ecosystem. And we can see also, look at this from what I had drawn out earlier. This is why candle patterns are so exciting. So this right here was essentially a cup and handle that in reality kind of became not a cup and handle, because this handle became much too low. But when this cup formation right here had this small pullback, and I was estimating this might be a cup and handle, we did a target, which is basically you take the distance from the neckline, which is this resistance level, down to how deep the cup handle the cup goes, and we take this basically the breakout point, from the handle here, and look at where the Bitcoin dominance has gone to. So this was already sort of predicted into the markets based on the chart formations and how chart formations play out in the charts. And this is why it's so important to understand candle patterns and chart formations. So, and we break all that down in the new courses that we have in BitLab Academy. So if you haven't yet, shout out, get over there, get in BitLab Academy. All of you that are in BitLab before the updates start going live are going to have an opportunity to get in at the current prices and have that lower price for life, because prices will be going up once the updates go live. So now what we want to do, we want to come over here and look at this crazy chart. And we can see that Bitcoin CME futures, we filled the gap. We talked about that. We do have a gap above us. Do we have, I keep getting dings in my ear. So nothing there. Okay, good. Just want to make sure. This is a crazy chart I was talking about. This is the USDT dominance chart. This is very similar to, we're going to double click on this, minimize those other indicators. So this is essentially, the orange line is Bitcoin price. the chart pattern line is the USDT dominance. This is similar to looking at the Dixie, the dollar index. However, this is looking most specifically, we're going to mute the Bitcoin price. This is looking most specifically at liquidity going on the sidelines out of people holding positions, meaning people are closing their positions on crypto and moving into stablecoin, or they're moving out of stablecoin and going into positions in the market. So as we can see right here, this is when the price was falling, and I can actually even bring up the Bitcoin price again. It's kind of like, so you see as the USDT dominance was rising, look at the Bitcoin price, it was falling. Now, as this rolled over and pushed down, we see Bitcoin rocketing. However, what you need to notice with this chart, you need to notice that this is bouncing on this trend line. And what is this trend line? This is a pretty major trend line. This is too much going on this chart. So let's go ahead and hide everything. This is all the way back from November 2021. We have this trend line that is a pretty major level of support through all of this. So there's two things that I want to notice here, that I want you to notice here though, is that we do have higher highs, this is the bearishness of the Bitcoin price action in all of 2022. Now we do have a lower high, and a lower high. So this is what would be known as, when you're talking, I don't want to draw on this, it's going to bring up all this stuff. This is what would be known as, this is very ugly, but starting to get this rounding pattern with highs, the momentum is shrinking and starting to roll over to the downside. So this is looking like it's setting up for some bullishness in terms of liquidity going back into crypto. Now, when we think about the narrative about what's going on today in the markets, people are losing their confidence in their banks holding their money. They're starting to realize, once you deposit money in a bank, it's no longer your money. That could just be evaporated tomorrow. And there's FDIC insurance, and depending on whether you're a business or a person that may or may not be honored, you know, a lot of VC. This is why the the Silicon Valley Bank was such an important issue. Was the fact that there's so many venture capital and tech companies that had a lot of their money within SVB, as well as Circle. Circle is the company that basically Goldman Sachs part of owned Circle as well as USDC being a major stablecoin that was on a massive rise in use and adoption within the crypto ecosystem. And they had, I think, 8% of their collateral, because the USDC coin was US dollar coin, and it was supposed to be pegged to the US dollar. And that's why you're seeing, when we had all this SVB drama, the Silicon Valley Bank drama, that the USDC was depegging from the dollar. So all of these things are intertwined. So even if you're specifically focused on what's going on with Bitcoin and crypto, this is why you need to come to channels like mine. Shout out also to Tom Crown, who is in chat. He's got a wonderful channel. Checking out, watching the news with BitBoy Crypto, or checking out Investing Bros or Crypto Jab, or any channel you watch, you'll see people that are doing this consistently over time and are profitable and making money. We're taking a broader awareness of what's happening in the sort of broader array of the financial markets in the world. And Bitcoin and crypto is a part of these financial markets now, although we've carved out this sort of alternative financial market, and we're starting to see that narrative shift. We're starting to see that narrative shift where, as these bank runs are happening, let's go back to the Bitcoin chart. As these bank runs are happening, we can see that as these bank runs are happening, we're seeing what Bitcoin was proven and basically born out of, which is being a safe haven, being an alternative store of value, being something that's not controlled by a centralized figure. So here we are. It's we've got quite a bit of time left. One of the things I want to do today is something that we haven't done much on this channel, and that is, we don't just want to make money in crypto. We don't just want to make money when we're looking at our portfolio trackers. We don't want to just see the US dollar going up. Of course, that's great. If you're in Australia, the Australian dollar. If you're in Mexico, the peso. If you don't want to just see your portfolio going up in those denominations as well, and as good as that is, because it gives you ability while we're still straddling this dual system, between crypto and the traditional markets. The main goal, the main purpose that we should all be looking to is, can we grow our portfolio in the valuation of Bitcoin? So let's go through a bunch of TA today, and you all can spam your chats right now. Spam in the chat. Let me know what coins you're interested in, what coins you feel like are bullish, what projects you're excited about in the, project you've been DCAing in already, projects you've been holding. Spam the chat with some of those altcoins, and we're going to see how they're faring against Bitcoin. Because what's the purpose of holding, a project if it's set up to, if you're looking right now today about potentially DCAing into something, and it's in a completely bearish structure on basically, let's say Kava to BTC pairing. If maybe it's in a bullish chart on the US dollar pairing, but if it's on a bearish pairing on BTC, then that's not a good allocation of your time and energy to be investing. If you're trading, that is, if you're trying to make the most from what you're earning, and Bitcoin is an asset that's moving faster than the asset you're looking at, then maybe you should think about where your liquidity is flowing. And this is one of the reasons why, when we look at what's going on with the altcoin and Bitcoin dominance, on these charts, this is one of the reasons why Bitcoin is having this strong push, because it is a safer asset right now in the ecosystem that is so uncertain with these bank failures, these bank collapses, monetary kerfufflery. I'm just going to make a word up here. It's important that we take into consideration where we can put our money to make the most out of our efforts of what we're doing and how we're trading and what we're doing with our money. I'm actually going to pull up a different. Let's do a new layout. Can I do a new layout? I don't want to upgrade. I got too many things. So we're just going to go over here. We'll go to the alts one, and we'll just do a bunch. So let's see. We got a bunch of ones. Okay, first one I saw here, H bar. Okay, well, we have H bar down here. So we can see this right here. We see this. We're looking at the US dollar pairing. So we kind of had this sort of descending channel that broke out to the upsides, looking like it's looking for a little bit of a pullback, likely into this. I mean, just looking at this right here, looking at this sort of region right here. It's in the US dollar pairing, it's at 6.3 cents. I'm looking at a pullback at minimum down to sort of 5.9 cents, which would also at that sort of phase likely be setting up for a head and shoulders, but also if that doesn't happen, even coming all the way down to this volume node here, 5.5 cents. But looking at the BitLab trading stack here, we can see we had, pushing into this, we had 5 bearish divergences. I don't even know what money. This is a macro histogram. Sorry, the MACD histogram. So we had the MACD histogram, bearish divergence, stochastics, momentum, on balance volume, leading into this push here. So this was a good indication that this was likely going to roll over. We're also seeing it was overheated. Now remember, this is a US dollar pairing, but we're going to look at how this is setting up as compared to Bitcoin. We also had, look at this right here, right preceding this drop, bearish divergence on the hidden volume. If anybody interested in these indicators, we've got a lot of updates that we've been working on that it's going to tie some of these things together into a single look onto the chart, as well as making it a lot more clear for beginners with some buy and sells. And I'm really excited about breaking this all out. It's coming with the BitLab updates that are coming soon. So now let's do H bar. And we are going to sorry, BTC. Okay, H bar, BTC. So now we can see here this is in still very steady downtrend as it relates to what's going on in relationship to the Bitcoin price. So we got a major. We're going to have to figure out what our sort of structure is here. We'll do this together. We're going to get a couple different lines. We got another one here, option T. For anybody that's new here, I do a lot of quick keys. If you want to learn those quick keys, go to that. Come over here. Come to this Pro Trading View guide, and that's here in the BitLab Academy YouTube page in playlists. You go right here, over here, view playlists, and go to the Pro Trading View guide. Quick keys are the way to go. It makes it a lot easier. So Option T or Alt T if you're on a PC. So we got basically this sort of rejection zone here. So H bar is performing poorly as compared, or bearishly. It's in a bearish structure as compared to what's happening with Bitcoin. Now we need to see if we have any other, we do have a bit of a descending wedge here. So this is setting up potentially for a bullish sort of narrative at some point, but it's not quite there yet. We're on the 4 hour here. So now let me see, we've got, let's see. Okay. Let's do algo, and then we'll do injected protocol because we have not done that. Algo. This is not what I want. Algo. We've looked at this a lot. We've looked at this a lot on traditional asset, basically USD pairings. So we can see, look at this sort of rounding. What does this mean? I want everybody to ask themselves, what does it mean if you see the candlesticks, the general trend rounding down like that? What does that suggest? This suggests that the momentum is increasing to the downside. So now we're looking at, remember, anytime you look at a chart, if you're watching this channel, if you're watching Tom Crown, if you're watching Crypto, I don't care who you're watching, or even if you're on Twitter, when you look at a chart, don't just look at it and feel like you know what's going on. Be humble, be patient. Look at what the heck you're looking at. Say, okay, this is the asset. This is what it's being paired against. So this is Algo BTC. Because there's a lot of times I even see charts, for instance, from Tech Dev who does inverted charts, and people get so confused by what's going on because people aren't taking in the data. They're not looking at whether or not the prices are going up this direction or if they're going down this direction, meaning the price, the chart's inverted. So what we're seeing here is as these candlesticks are rolling over, this is also increasing momentum to the downside, which we can also see is evident by this EMA ribbon getting wider and wider, meaning it's expanding. And if we look at a traditional set of indicators, we look at MACD, RSIs, stochastics. If we expand this here, let's see. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. If anybody knows a quick key to do an auto expand on these things, let me know, because I am keen on that. I have yet to figure that out. You know what? I'm going to just, here we go. We're trying to expand the MACD. There we go. So what the MACD does, it's a moving average convergence divergence. And what this does is it allows you to see if moving averages are gaining momentum or losing momentum in a direction. We also have this EMA ribbon that is built into the, this is actually a 4MA. Yeah, so this is a 4MA. This is the traditional indicator look. We can see that there's a lot of choppiness. The four moving averages are expanding, meaning there's momentum increasing to the downside. We're getting rejected. I believe this orange line is a 21. Let me just double check. Yeah, it's a 21. So once you lose the 21 on any time frame you're looking on, if you're below it, you're generally in a bearish structure. If you're above it, you're generally in a bullish structure. As you can see here, as soon as we broke above it, we had a bullish sort of trend to the upside until we broke back below it, and we've just been getting rejected all the way down. And so we're seeing this. This is, again, the Algo Bitcoin pair. So we're seeing that currently, if you're looking for what asset to move into, to make the most on your investments, you want to make sure you understand what your strategy is, you understand what your time horizon is, you understand what your risk tolerance is. And if you believe in Algorand, I'm not saying don't invest in it. If you've already been in it from, when it was down, 16 cents, 14 cents, then you already have your sort of case made. If you're trying to figure out right now as a trader where to put your money to make the most bang for your buck, and you're debating, do I put it in Algo or Bitcoin? Well, in this case, we see that Algorand is performing in a bearish sort of structure in relationship to Bitcoin. So if you're looking over the next week where to put your to allocate your funds, and you're battling between Algo and Bitcoin, then maybe your answer right now is Bitcoin. And I can't give you financial advice. I'm letting you know how you think through what you're going to do and how you're going to allocate your money. Now, if you're looking for the long term and you're trying to build a portfolio and you already have the amount of, nobody has the amount of Bitcoin that they want. I was about to say, if you have the amount of Bitcoin that you want, let's be honest. None of us have the amount of Bitcoin that we want. And that's why we're here. That's why we're trying to grow ourselves. But if you're on a shorter time horizon and you're doing day trades and scalp trades and trying to figure out what to make the bang on your buck now, then right now Bitcoin looks like the more bullish asset in relationship to Algorand. If you're looking for the long term though, then Algo could be something you can look specifically on the Algo USD pairing to find your entries for that. Now, what was the next one? We got somebody said Mina. I don't think we've looked at Mina on here yet. Mina. Let's look at Mina USDT. And this is looking interesting. We can see. This is probably coming right above the 618. Somewhere between the 618 and the 786. Now we can do, look at that. 618, 786. This is right in the middle of it. And in order to do that, for those of you that are new on this channel, you can do Option F and then click on the chart and you get a fib. If you're on a PC, it's Alt F, I believe. And so Mina is looking on the US dollar, basically USDT pairing. This is pushing up. We're fighting within this EMA ribbon right here. The RSI is getting back more bullish because it is, see here, it's been held below. We can do Option T for a trend line here. This is sort of below the 50 line, which is generally bearish, but we have broken above this, this sort of 50 line here. The question is going to be on this pullback, are we going to break back below this and form a new trend that's bearish, or is this going to be a small pullback and continue to the upside? Now, this is looking at the USDT pairing. Now, we also see that I always want you to pay attention to this. Your stochastics are very overheated. This is very similar to when we're looking at the BitLab trading stack and you see that orange, you see that red and orange sort of wave. That's when the MACD is overheated and the RSI is getting an overheated zone. And we're seeing that the MACD is starting to roll over. So that's sort of how you can utilize this. You see this red zone, the relative extrema is, let's come over here. The relative extrema is sticking. We have gaps sticking out, which this is going to be included in the price action here in the new updates. And we're seeing bearish divergences. So this is looking like it's going to try and retest, but this is all also tied to what's going on with Bitcoin. So let's look at the Mina BTC pairing. Mina BTC. All right, there we go. Let's go on Binance. And this is very similar. It looks very similar to the USDT sort of structure. But do we have a trend line from here? Option T, come across pretty close structure there. This got rejected just below it. This is trying. Look at this. Each time, this is trying to get above this EMA ribbon. Let's go ahead and let's. Here, I'm gonna turn off just only show last divergence, so it's cleaner to look at. This is it's basically riding above this EMA ribbon, and then once it broke through, it's fighting the bulls and bears. This is a tug of war battle between the bulls and the bears, and it gets rejected here, and now it's trying to push back up and break above this ribbon. This is what these lines are. You're seeing this is an EMA ribbon. And these colors, the reason why this is colorful is not just to look pretty. This is also reading the momentum indicators, the strength, the signals that are showing when a trend is going to continue or when it's going to start changing. So as you see a color change, as you see right here, this is moving down. As you see this color change, so too the price drops quite quickly. Now you see this already starting to fade again, and as this starts to fade, this sort of led this this push up to the upside as this color was changing. So this is a very subtle nuance here. A lot of people don't even notice it. They're not utilizing it yet because there's a lot of things within this BitLab market intelligence that people just haven't really used yet. But you can use this specifically just as an EMA ribbon as well. But this is pushing right up into this trend line, getting bearish divergence. And as MENA is related to Bitcoin, this is looking like it's going to make another attempt down, meaning Bitcoin is going to perform better than Bitcoin, meaning Bitcoin is going to be performing better than MENA, likely for the time being. We also see this overheated right here. Now, let's see, do we have any more? I see live stream alerts. H-bar, DeFi band. We haven't done, oh, I said I was going to do injected. So let's do injected INJ, not IM, INJ, INJ. Now, everybody hit that like button. If you have not hit that like button yet, we're giving all this alpha. We got a great community. Hit that subscribe button, join our community, ding the bell. It's my goal. We're going to drive up the number of people that have their notifications turned on, so you know when we're going live, because after I'm done filming a lot of these updates that I'm doing while I'm here in Atlanta for BitLab Academy, I am going to be doing an afternoon shorter show, maybe 20 minutes or so. So make sure you're hitting that, ding that bell, which if you don't know what the bell is, it's when you come over here. And let's just pull up TradingView guide. Okay, so come down here and you hit the subscribe button, and then you ding the bell that's next to it so that you can get notified when we're going live. Now, back to injected. Now let's come over here. Let's look at USDT first. This is looking bullish. This is let's do option J or Alt J if you're on PC. We're coming up to this point of resistance here. Kind of similar looking to what Bitcoin was doing. And now injected protocol is a project that I've been interested in quite a while. Smaller market cap, a lot of potential. We look like we're forming a bit of a bull flag here. However, this is at a lot of resistance. But let's see how this is setting up. But look at this right here. If we expand this, we can see that we've got a bearish divergence on the volume right here, which is suggesting there's not fuel in the tanks to go higher from here. And we have a red wave here on the significant movement, suggesting that it's very overbought, overheated. It needs to have some signals reset. We already did flash back to gray, but this is a little bit worrisome in terms of this is a USDT pairing. Let's look at this as it relates to Bitcoin. BTC. Mods, let me know. I've not been able to watch chat much today, so I don't know if there's been any super chats or anything like that. I want to make sure that I call out anybody that does super chats. I want to make sure I acknowledge you all. So if there are any super chats that have been in the chat or that pop up, make sure any of the mods, you guys can do it in our private Discord that dings in my ear. And I'll make sure at the end of the show, I'll be calling out, and if there's any particular questions we can answer or just simple shout outs, let me know. Oh, we can do that there. Gesundheit. Okay. Now, engine number 9. Okay, let's look at engine as it pertains to Bitcoin. This looks just like the USDT chart. So this is going. This is there is a lower high here though, rather than butting up to the same level on the price action here, and this is injector protocol as it pertains to Bitcoin. But this is looking like we have a lot of sort of support. This is a VPVR. This is essentially, for people that don't know, I just want to remind, this is giving you a volume profile of the visible range. So whatever I can see on this chart. So as you can see, as I scroll in and scroll out, this changes. This is a visible range. That's why it's called the volume profile of the visible range. And these are at levels This is showing how much volume was traded at this specific price level marked here on the right. This is showing this is less volume traded at this price level. So you can see when you have a big amount of price, when you have a big amount of volume, there's been a lot of trading. You can see even just looking at the price action in this level. That's why we have the spike here and this red line that's coming out. This is a POC. The point of control. This is basically showing you that you have support based on a lot of price action buys that have happened in this region. And this is why, look at this, we found support right on this. And we're sort of, we're sort of rolling over here because look at this. We have, I won't call it a head and shoulders. I won't call it a head and shoulders because it's a little bit wonky. Yeah, it's a little bit wonky because you don't have an established neckline, meaning the support where this pulls back to this having an equal bounce, and then this. And if I were to do the head and shoulders kind of like this would be, it's very sideways. I mean, we could kind of do it, but in this case, we've already broken out. But either way, what we can see here is that we have a route. We have basically have a push up. We have less momentum push up, and now we have a lower high. So now this always indicates to me when we're looking at price action patterns, when we get that lower high, then I'm looking at where are we going to form a lower low, which we have done. So what I would be seeing on this, and this is in regards to injector protocol to Bitcoin, I'd be looking for this to maybe have a little bit further. That was a squiggly line right there. Shout out for all the squiggly lines. So I could see this pushing down maybe to this level here, coming back up, retesting, and then coming further down. And the reason I say that is we also have right here on the BitLab Relative Extrema, this is showing that the price action move to the downside is somewhat unhealthy. This is, I don't want to call it unhealthy. It's moving too fast. The volatility is outside of the norms of how fast this should be moving based on a past 14 period. So we can see the health of moves and how quick moves should. I don't want to say it's similar to the Bollinger Bands, but it's essentially when you see these sticking outside of the cloud, you see these sticking outside of the cloud here, this is suggesting that this is getting not only overheated, but the move is moving much too quick and it's going to need to cool off. And that's exactly what happened. Now, similarly, we have this right here is breaking down below this neckline. We have this lower high. Now we're forming a lower low. I'm looking at this likely testing down to at least this level here, which is also the point of control, which is another press shift. If we can't do it when we have a line there. But basically, you sucker. All right, so we come over here, do the measurement tool. This is another 6% down in respect to Bitcoin performing at least 6%, 6 to 7% better than injector protocol. So you see what I'm doing here is I'm trying to not only look at the price action of what's happening on the USDT or USD pairing. We want, because of what we're seeing with the totals chart, let's actually click the correct button. We could do it. What we're seeing with the total is interest flowing into Bitcoin. Now, this isn't the end of the world for people that are into altcoins, because what we would really want to see is we want to see liquidity flowing into Bitcoin. We want to see confidence coming back into the crypto and risk markets. And so if we can go with the least risky asset within the crypto ecosystem and see liquidity pouring in to Bitcoin, and we see this outperforming altcoins, this is putting a lot of liquidity into the space. And if we get a rejection somewhere in this region up here in the 48, what was this level here? Basically the 48% region, seeing that dominance of Bitcoin go up, then this spells wonderful opportunity for the altcoins when this risk basically when liquidity starts going up to this 48% and the dominance on Bitcoin, we're seeing certainty come into the market for the crypto ecosystem. Then as profits start to get taken and people say, okay, now it's time to get into the riskier assets. Now look at how much further we have in terms of understanding that we are in this big channel. Basically from where we're at here down is a basically 13% drop. If we get all the way up to 48%, this is a 20% drop. So we essentially have, if we're able to be patient and let that liquidity go into Bitcoin and see that risk come into the crypto ecosystem, and then have that liquidity cycle through and down that those market caps, because we tend to see Bitcoin run, and then we start seeing Ethereum and Cardano and some of the other top coins run, and then as those run and those take people take profits from that, now they have new liquidity that then they can pour into the riskier and riskier assets as it goes. One of the interesting things that a lot of people have noticed in the last market runs, in the last market cycles, I should say, is the fact that when like coins like Shiba Inu and Dogecoin start really running, that was a good mark that the end of the sort of macro bullish cycle was there, because those were at the sort of tail end of the risk sort of narrative. And not only that, Dogecoin, to its credit, has been in the top 10 for quite some time now. So I don't look at it as risky of an asset. But however, one of the things you can attribute to projects like Shiba Inu and Dogecoin and Floki and these things, and I'm not saying any of these are bad projects. I'm not saying that by any stretch of the imagination. What I'm saying is there's a different type of investor that's a part of that ecosystem as opposed to something like, Engine Coin or Bitcoin or Ethereum or AVAX or Cardano. Now, some of those same people that have those, these other higher market cap coins, and we can come over here to, let's go to CoinGecko. CoinGecko, these higher market cap coins, meaning how much liquidity is in these assets, which is, again, a little beginner lesson for everybody. This market caps are what's important, not the price. You're not getting a Polygon because it's $1.15, and if this only goes to $24,000 like Bitcoin, that's not how you invest. You look at the market caps, because these all have different number of supply, how much available supply and how much emissions are going to happen and how much inflation is going to happen. Understanding these dynamics is what really helps you invest, because with Dogecoin, a lot of people that are in Dogecoin, and there are smart investors in this too, but Dogecoin is a lot more in the zeitgeist of the retail hype investor. So when you see a lot of retail hype piling into this, retail hype doesn't come in until towards the end of markets, because that's when you're starting to get all the news headlines. So paying attention to the behavior of these types of projects, and also looking at these on-chain metrics, even, like this chart that I showed you all yesterday. This is a chart that I created it's free. If you come over to looknode.com, you go into cycle valuation, come down to Bitcoin trend fib opportunity zones. It's a funny little acronym, the TFOZ, baby. The TFOZ. This is showing you when we are in these opportunity zones and when we're exiting these opportunity zones. And in the case where we're at right now, we have price. We can put the mouse kind of right over here. This is a few days old. I need to zoom in to get it on the date, but we could see the accumulation zone, which is basically the long-term holder realized price, was at 19,725. We just hit that zone again. We just dropped down there, and we had that marked out on our chart. Let's go back to Bitcoin itself. Let's go back to the godfather of Bitcoin, baby. So this was that area that we had marked out on the chart. I marked this area out when we were somewhere over here as a likely zone, because not only was it roughly where the Bitcoin, where the long-term holder realized price was, it's also right here in that zone of where the golden pocket was from this move from the bottom to the top. So likely spot to pull back. And I just happened to notice, wow, this golden pocket is also perfectly in line with this major support and resistance trend line that we had right here. So what else was there? That CME gap. Well, that was a pretty good golden target zone to have some entries go in. So looking specifically back at this trend fib opportunity zone chart, we can see that when we go down below this realized price yellow band, and we can see basically the key is up here. And when you put your mouse over this, it sort of gives you a good idea of where you're at in relationship to the various bands. And we can see, you know, currently right now, I mean, the generational buy would have been down at $12,000. Now, we didn't quite get there on this, but we did get into the bear exhaustion buy zone. Look, it still is at $15,500. And that's essentially where that FTX collapse took the price to, $15,500 and some odd dollars. Now, we can see as price starts pushing up, I want you to pay attention to this chart, because, and it's free. You can get in here and I think you might just have to make an account. You might just be able to see it free. Come to looknode.com. This is not sponsored. This is just they supported my chart, so I want you guys to check it out, because we can see as price starts pushing up, all these bands are Fibonacci extensions of the realized price, and the realized price is the best metric to really understand what's going on with the sort of honest value of Bitcoin, because the realized price is the aggregate price of every Bitcoin in supply the last time that it was moved. So we're taking into account the realized value of Bitcoin as it's grown over time. And if you look on the chart, you can see that's the line that's sort of blinking on and off, and you can turn all these on and off. But what we want to pay attention to is as price goes up, right now, if we go back down, let's actually zoom in here, go over. Come on, screen, work with me. So what we see right now is we're flirting right there with the bear capitulation / hope zone. That is this where is it at? I cannot see. Here we are. So we see this line right here. This is essentially where we capitulated into true depths of the bear market. Okay, we can also see this right here. Look at where this capitulation hope zone line is. This was a line in the sand that when the market fell out, we finally established our accumulation bottom. And similarly, when we look at where we're at today, we always need to look backwards in time and then correlate to see what's going on, what's different, what's new, what's changed. This capitulation zone, which we did break down from, this is right in June, and then we really broke down here during the FTX saga when we broke below the long-term holder realized price, showing historically that we really got into good opportunity zones, which is why we saw a lot of people piling in some buys in these zones. But what we're being held, that crazy number that we're seeing right on the Bitcoin price chart right here at the 25,230, it looks like it also happens to be, look at that, the capitulation / hope zone. We're battling our head against the hope zone band. So once we get above this band, we've already done something that we need to do, which is get above the short-term holder realized price, because as you see this right here, when we are below it, we are in a bearish trend. And let's see this again. Let's see this right here. As soon as we break above this, we are having a hell of a wonderful time in a bullish trend. And if we look more specifically where we're at right now, we are butting our head against that sort of hope zone right there, as well as price having retested the short-term holder realized price. So we are setting up for some wonderful things. We just have to keep our heads about us. We have to keep positive. We have to make sure we're looking at the broader picture about what's going on. So I'm going to go look to chat, see if there's any interesting things, any questions, anything going on. We went through quite a variety of different charts today, and I want to challenge you all to take a look at those different coins, those different assets that you are interested in, that you are trading, that you are, have on your wish list. Also look at them not only on the USD pairing or the USDT pairing, but look at them on the BTC pairing as well. Practice. And also looking at your own portfolios, looking at how your portfolio is performing in relationship to Bitcoin, which you can do with, coin stats. You can do with there's a new portfolio management software coming out I'm really excited about called Merlin. And you can look on the charting area. I know in coin stats, you can look, you can change the valuation. For instance, when you're looking at the value of your portfolio, look at it in US dollar value and looking at it in Bitcoin value, and you can see how it's performing over time. Because what I want to do, I don't want to just make money. I want to make sure the money that I'm making and the assets that I'm allocating towards as time goes on, that money is being earned not only in US dollar going up, but I'm also earning faster than Bitcoin. And that takes careful consideration, and that takes planning, and it takes diligence and reading the charts and the data and knowing where you are in the market cycle. If you haven't yet, make sure you hit that like button, you hit that subscribe button, ding that bell. I really appreciate all of you being here. We're not going to go yet. We got a few more minutes, but I want to know how you're feeling about this right now, because we are in that zone right now. On the price, on the charts, we are in that zone. This is not a guaranteed full bull rally yet. We had a wonderful, wonderful push outside of this, basically breaking above this, getting a higher high. But as you can see on the BitLab trading stack, this called this perfectly. On the daily chart, we had 6 bearish divergences that suggested that this was going to roll over. This flashed very quick from blue, which was bottom, to red, almost immediately as we pushed up into this zone. Now, if we come down on the smaller time frames, let's kind of get a little bit of a map of where we might be going. We could see this was very red and overheated. We are finding support though here on the EMA ribbon. Let's go down a little bit smaller time frame. Let's look at the 1 hour. Let's look at what's going on. Okay, we tried to have a bit of a pullback. We could press Command. If you press Command and zoom in on your chart, it doesn't go back and forth like when you're doing this. This way you can keep the focus view. We're going to double click on the chart. We can see that, yeah, there are some bullish divs here, but there's some weakness in this zone. There's some weakness in the zone at this $25,230. So I'm looking at this option F. Let's do our fib. Man, this area right here, 25. Man, that's low. 22,578. If this were to come back to that, I'd be a bit frustrated. But it's okay. We could be frustrated because we're trading on data, not on emotions. I'd be frustrated because I have a bullish bias, but we're seeing that there's a likelihood that this could, in a healthy way, come back to this mid-range zone, this golden pocket from this bottom zone to this top that we went to, which would put us right here, also testing this entire EMA ribbon, which is at 22,120 to 22,300. But what I'd like to see more specifically is this level right here, option J, is this level be the support. This would mean that the bulls are really trying to take control, having the price come back. We've already kind of tested it, but not dropping below this sort of 0.5 and finding support on this EMA ribbon would let me know that the bulls are really trying to make an attempt here. We're going to have to watch this throughout the rest of the week and see how everything goes. But I really just want to say I appreciate and love all of you. Hit that like bell on your way out. Hit that subscribe. And have you ding the bell, baby. I hope you all have a wonderful day. And keep your head about you. Don't get emotional. Look at the data. Use the different training videos that we have in the BitLab Academy YouTube page. Come over here to playlists. Come to view full playlists. Basically the daily alpha. There's a lot of different gems in here. And if you have not yet, come over to bitlabacademy.com. Check out this newsletter. You're going to get free alpha there, and you get entered to win free month access to courses and indicators because we have all the new content about to be released. So get in because the price is going up. And if you want the indicators that I've been showing on screen, the BitLab trading stack, come over here to bitlabacademy.com/indicators. And this is the full stack right here. It gets you all the things. And we got some new stuff coming that's going to be added to this very soon. And with that, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being in the stream. And I'll see you later. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here again. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Gonna see you on the stream again.